start this morning with a serious question. Are you still here? Wherever here is for you, are you still here? You remember when you said you were about to get started, make some moves? Are you still here? Where are we at? Are you still here? Not are you still there, right? I'm not asking you if you're still there. I'm asking you, are you still here? Are you still in the right mindset? Are you still in the right space spiritually? Are you still here? Are you going somewhere? Did you want to go somewhere? Do you care about being somewhere? Or as my son likes to say, no, I'm just trying to enjoy my summer. I'm just trying to enjoy my summer. Where you at? It's early, people. It's early. The sun is up somewhere. It's on its way to me. I'll be pleasure to see it. Would love for you guys to join me there. Welcome to BNV Finance Fixers, guys. Focus here is on fixing your mindset, your mentality, your spirit, your discipline. Everything else falls in line. Everything else is what it should be, when it should be. Good morning. Good morning, Adam. How are you doing? What we need to do is get our spirit right, get our mind right, get our drive right. That way, we can get our lives right. We gotta stop being distracted. I have never made more positive moves in my life as I did when I turned off the news. What's the word, Frankie? Let's see. The word today is perplexed. The word today is perplexed. Good morning, girl dad. Kevin, Cowboys for life. Apologize for the mic not being on, guys. Let's get up right now. Hey, like we always do in this time. My little view from the hilltop. Greeting the mornings. You still here, people. Why are we still here? Are we ready to get started with a day? Perplexed, yes sir, Frankie. Perplexed. It's like I can't, like when you can see the answers, when you know what the right answers are, and you know how you want to proceed, and then something happens, right? Because there's an expectation that some things are going to happen, but something happens that just absolutely kicks you in the side of your face, and you're like, what in the world? I'm gonna apologize for this old reference. I'm gonna be a little old. I don't know if any of y'all ever seen the Rush Hour movies with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, but they have this one scene in the movie where they got a lot of fight scenes, but this particular one, they're in this club or in this, I don't know, bathhouse or whatever, and Chris Tucker jumps into a fighting stance and somebody kicks him in the face. He says, which one of y'all just kicked me? Let me know. So it happens so fast. It happens so immediately. And so he was perplexed. I like that word. It's a little bit more than confused, right? Like confused. Got this deer path that I cross coming through here. Make sure I don't get hit by no full-grown deer running across. But he was so confused that when he got kicked in the face, he had to be perplexed. That's the word of the day, perplexed, people. Completely disoriented. No idea what's happening. You can't listen. Sometimes you're in that space, man. Sometimes you get perplexed. Then you got to get back on it, man. You got to figure it out. You gotta get back on that grind. What do we have there? We have Navy Blue Dove. Which one of y'all kicked me? Yeah. Which one of y'all kicked me, man? So that's what that perplex means. Why is that? Why is that the word of the day? Well, it's the word of the day because it's the temporary state. We can't live in that space, guys. You gotta snap out of it, man. It is now 4:46 in the morning, 4:46 a.m., people. It is Saturday morning. If you still in that place, that's why I titled this, Are You Still Here? And it's a question to ask yourself. It's not a question for me to ask you. It's a question that we must all pose to ourselves. Are you still here? Are you still standing here after you got kicked in the face, perplexed, with no understanding as to what you should do next, how you should proceed, what you want to do next, where you're going, how you got here in the first place? That's perplexed. That's like, man, I don't know anything that's happening right now. We can't stay in that state. That's not a place to live. We can't live in confusion. We can't live in chaos. We have to fix it. We have to make a decision, and we have to move on. What's going on, Chimani? What's going on? So we have to break out of being perplexed, right? We gotta shake it off. Let me get to work. I'm letting you know. It's a good time to shake it off, people. It's a good time to wake up. It's a good time for us to start to see the benefit of not being perplexed. What you want me to say it? You will keep saying it until I say it? Chimoy, What you want me to say, Kalu? That's what it is? You want me to say Kalu? So you laughing yet, man? Kalu. Ashley. Okay, indeed. I take that. So how do we get on our dean, man? How do we get on our path? How do we understand how to move forward? Move out of this perplexed state. First thing you got to do, which is the right thing. Good morning, Russell. Thank you for the sub, Navy Blue. The first thing we got to do is we have to move into a space, which is exactly what happened in the movie, is we have to ask questions. We got to get some clarity, right? And it's funny because in this movie with Chris Tucker in Rush Hour, when he got kicked in the face and he was like, which one of y'all kicked me in the face? When he asked that question, it sought clarity. Now, when you seek clarity and you establish clarity, it gives you a way to pursue. It gives you a path to take action, which is required to achieve anything. It gives you the opportunity to make a decision, not just a choice, right? A choice is simply narrowing down the options, right? You can have multiple choices. They have multiple choice tests, but at some point you have to make a decision. And when you make that decision, in order for it to truly be a decision, you have to take action, right? Russell, thank you very much for the sub. So once you start taking action, once you come out of this perplexed state, which is required for you to take action and for you to grow, like there's no other way for you to get to where you're going. There's no other way to be positive. Without action, there's no other way to get to results. And you learn that you need to move away from being busy to being productive. Now you have something to work with. Don't be perplexed, people. Don't live in that state. There is a path that we have to design, but we have to figure things out first. And we start with asking questions of ourselves. We ask, are we prepared to do it? You say you want some things. I say I want some things. We tell ourselves that we're going to go somewhere. I'm not going to be here forever, right? But in order for us to get away from that place, in order for us to grow from that place, it requires for us to start taking some serious action. And then once we start to take those actions, it requires for us to understand that we have to make a plan so we can perform with some consistency. And once we learn to perform with some consistency, it allows for us to truly move with discipline towards a goal. This is how we achieve things. This is how we break out of it. This is how we get better. Isaac, how are you doing? Good to see you this morning. Navy Blue, hey, listen. I don't know how many times Billy dropped that in there. Vivian, thank you very much for the sub. But I tell you what, that having people come into the chat and having people participate is a great way to be able to reach people and grow your channel. And there are some things that we need to address, and there are other things that we need to allow them to be what they are, so we can go where we need to go. Thank you everyone for being here this morning. Yeah, I didn't expect that much either, but But some people have to lock in a certain space, man. I'm not going to try to explain it. I'm not going to try to justify it or excuse it. I am going to say one of the things that's very important, guys, is to make sure we are not being perplexed. How perplexing. That's exactly what perplexed is, Navy Blue. It's like, man, I wasn't expecting that. Like, 1,800 times. You did it 1,000 times. I wasn't expecting that. What do I do? Right? You start asking questions. And because we're looking for clarity in our life, we're constantly seeking understanding. But if we're actively seeking understanding for the purposes of taking action, then we seek understanding of the things that are relevant. Because distractions are designed to prevent you from obtaining your purpose. Distractions are designed to prevent you from arriving at your goal, at your planned destination. They're designed to keep you perplexed. How many times do you watch the news and something comes on and you're like, what? That's what clickbait is, right? You look at something and it's like, what? Did they just say this cow was voted mayor of a town in Wisconsin? Is that what I just read? And it's designed to get you perplexed. And now that need to ask questions, that need to find clarity kicks in, right? That requires us to figure out what's relevant to our travel, what's relevant to our path, and what's there to distract us. Because distractions will keep us off of our plan. And then distractions come in many forms. But when we're off our plan, we're outside of our purpose, we're no longer moving towards the goal, the thing that's important to us. Chimenoy says, you need a doctor immediately. Okay. Am I in Texas, Alex? Not currently. Big Cowboys fan, lived in Texas for about 4 or 5 years down in Austin. But not currently in Texas. So, am I a Trump supporter? Who is that? Triz Kit. I don't know. How do you define a Trump supporter? Do I look like a Trump? Do I sound like a Trump supporter? Do I look like a Trump supporter? I know, Isaac. Hey, man, you can tell them to stop. You can stay focused, but make sure you stay focused. I'm gonna share some things with you, all right? So, these are more distractions, guys. I want you to stay focused with me, and I do check out the chat and I do read the chat, right? And the reason I check out the chat and I read the chat is because I rarely have any shirts that have anything on them outside of a Dallas Cowboy logo or a Nike swoosh or my company brand BNV. I don't wear many things outside of that. The reason why is because I am a fan of this sports franchise. I am a fan of and a investor, a stockholder in Nike, which is a crazy stock to hold. And BNV is my company. That's what I wear on my chest. I support them in kind because of that. I am no type of political individual supporter. So am I a Trump supporter? Am I an Obama supporter? All of those things are distractions. And if you and I'm telling you this, listen, I'm telling you this because it's important, right? Don't be perplexed. I want you to understand this completely. Wasn't trying to stir the pot, I promise. No problem, no problem. Hey, you ain't got no, hey, listen, I'm a good cook. Yeah, I'm a good cook. You can stir the pot as much as you want, but I'm going to season it. And I know when to take it off the stove to make sure it's cooked well. Don't worry about stirring the pot, right? Thank you, Isaac, for the sub. So the reason is, to me, it's not relevant of whether or not, or it's not relevant as to who I support when it comes to politics. I'm gonna go live for a bit. Disappear navy blue into the void, leaving you perplexed. I'm gonna check you out when I get back in. I'm gonna check you out, navy blue, right? And so, distractions are so what brings up politics, right? But don't worry about it. We're gonna cover that. You need a shaving machine to shave your beard. They're called trimmers. It's not a shaving machine. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about this stirred pot a little bit, right? I'm gonna talk about it. So one of the things that we have to understand. Peace out, navy blue. One of the things about politics is politics are designed to be a distraction, because they're designed to have you focused on what other people say you should be focused on about things that they're doing that you may not have the ability to impact, right? You have the ability to impact as much as an individual who can cast a vote and be a part of the process. But there are so many things, and it took me a long time to get here. There are so many things that are just rhetoric that comes from people that lets us know that the thing that we truly have to focus on is working on and building ourselves. Now, when we focus on working on and building ourselves, then we focus on our purpose, who we want to become, who we want to be. Once we focus on who we want to be, we start moving in that path. As I said before, we have to stop being perplexed, and we start moving on that path towards becoming that person. And as we become that person, the things that we want to see in our life become a part of our life. Now, it's a big thing. It's a big thing for many people to win an argument, to want to be right, right? So it's a big thing to want to be right versus want to do right, right? What's the point? What's the point of being right in an argument if you can't do right in your life? If you can't do right by yourself? If you wake up and you invest your time into other people's interests, into other people's mindsets, into other people's purpose, and you invest your time in that way, and you're not doing right by yourself, you can have whatever political affiliation you would like to have. You can believe and have a lifestyle belief of your own as to what you think is appropriate. On a recent walk and talk, a gentleman came on and he specifically said he was interested in helping Palestine and he was concerned with Palestine. I'm not drunk, but my camera is a little bit. My camera is on this gimbal and it I'm trying to get it locked in. I apologize for that. So Trigger says, what's wrong if people don't talk about politics? What's wrong is people don't talk about politics and no one can learn. No need for identity politics. Well, that's the thing. Here's the thing. There are people who talk about politics, right? There are people who talk about politics and get paid hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars to have those conversations because there's an audience who wants to hear what they have to say. I'm not knocking those people, but you have to understand one of the things that you'll see right now, there's a lot of rebranding going on, right? Trump is a superstar. Trump is a superstar in the means of Trump gets followed, he gets attention by people who love him and people who hate him. He creates that type of response in people that he even said it. He was like, it don't matter. He's like, I don't care if you love me or hate me. He said, you can't put no show on NBC and be one of the highest rated shows for years. You can't have people still, listen, raise your hand if you've heard the name Omarosa. That's a Trump thing. That's a Trump branding of that individual. love Trump or hate Trump, he generates what the people who run the news media want, which is entertainment and value. So I don't have to agree with his politics. Shoot, I could say for most politicians, 80% of what they say is for the purposes of simply getting people to believe in them or walk with them or choose them or vote for them. Good morning, Ryan. Welcome up, brother. Good to see you, right? One of the things that you have to understand is if you are concerned with Trump as an individual, you are walking away from yourself as an individual, because Trump is going to do the things that are going to help him get to where he wants to be. He's going to stand pat on it. I had a whole talk that I did a whole live specifically about the principles of the things that you need to learn from Trump. And people think it's politics, and it's not. This is what keeps people literally perplexed. The word of the day is perplexed, people. You're perplexed because you're trying to figure out, what is he doing? When you haven't figured out what you're doing. What are you doing? What are you working on? When I was talking to the gentleman the other day about Palestine, I said, you can care about Palestine. I'm not saying Palestine doesn't matter. I'm not saying Israel doesn't matter. I'm not saying the whole Middle East region, Africa. I'm saying the dude down at the McDonald's on the drive-thru, he matters too. I'm talking about my brother who's in a difficult time. He matters too. I'm talking about the people in your life, the people who you love, who are your family. They matter too. So what are we saying? Well, what we're saying is this. If we care about something or someone or some movement, in order for us to be able to make changes in that space for someone or something, we have to put ourselves in a position to make an impact. It doesn't matter how I feel about a particular situation if all I'm going to do is talk about it. If I'm not going to get up and take action and do something with myself, I have to first prepare myself. I have to get my mindset, my behaviors, my activities. I have to get those things correct within myself. And then once I correct myself, once I get myself put together correctly, I can now start talking about, or I can start considering, or I can start working on how I can help others, because I'm now in a position to be of assistance. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. If you're concerned, because I was a personal trainer for a long time, if you're concerned that you're not gonna be strong enough to assist somebody when they're doing a specific exercise, you work on getting stronger. You work on learning how the assistance should be provided. You work on understanding the movement. You work on yourself. You don't need to work on that person. You definitely don't need to work on the weights. You don't need to change the weights. The weights, you don't need to buy a new brand of weights. You don't need to go out and tell people in front of the gym that they need to change so that this guy could get a good spot. You can't tell somebody else it's their job to do that. What you need to do is, if that's what you want to do, if that's where you want to help, if that's the impact you want to make, you have to work on you, so that when that time comes, when that person needs that assistance, when that person needs that spot, when that person needs some support, you're able to provide it. It is the same thing in the real world, people. It is the same thing that we see every day. And it starts with not being perplexed. It starts with asking questions, getting clarity. And we need to ask questions of ourselves. Are you still here? Am I still here? Am I still here in this place that I told myself 3 months ago I was going to be moving away from? Am I still here in this place I told myself a year ago I was going to be moving away from? Am I still here? For me, my current journey is to reduce my caloric intake to 1,200 calories a day, 1,500 calories adjusted for fitness. Where am I at? I'm working on it. Right now, I've got it down. My expected caloric intake is about 3,200. Right now, I've got it down to under 2,000. I'm somewhere around 1,800 to 1,700 a day. The goal is to get it to 1,500 and to have the fitness to support it. so that I can get into the physical condition and shape I want to be in. So when I start walking, I ain't got Chimenoid gaming telling me I need a doctor, because it sounds like I'm having a heart attack because I went outside for 10 minutes. These are the things that we have to do. This is how we stop being perplexed. This is how we start moving forward. I don't have a problem. Like I've said, man, you can stir the pot all you want, but you're only stirring the pot if there are people who are afraid to walk out there and understand that the purpose, the calling, and the actions are for them. The things that they need to be doing, the things that they need to be working on is themselves. And I am happy to state that's where I'm at. That's what I do. That is my calling. That is my purpose. My children, my wife and I have 7 children. And I let my children know the other day, it's funny because you have to be careful of where your children are learning their principles from, where your children are learning their leadership from, where your children are getting their information for making decisions from, because I told my children that I'm going to be a dictator. I let them know that our house has run for too long like a democracy, and that I'm responsible for who they are, who they become, and their safety. And the only way I can truly be that, because I tried to be one of these new age parents, my wife and I tried this approach of, hey, let them be adults. Their voice matters. Give them choices, yeah, to a limited degree. And so, in doing so, my children are at the point now where I need to make some corrections. And so we've been doing, since the beginning of the year, we've been doing meetings at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7:30s on any days where they don't have school. And I'm giving them the first 2 weeks of the summer break to kind of live how they want. You're talking about falling off the edge of a cliff. And so I go to my children and I tell them from this point on, I am going to be a dictator. I am going to tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And they immediately responded. I got a 16-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. You talk about throwing the world history books at me. Son, head down. Daughter, ooh. My children were not happy with this. And they were like, well, of course you want to be a dictator. The dictator is the only one who benefits from a dictatorship. They start running off all of this stuff they done learned in school. First thing I hit them with was, hold on. You don't understand the makeup required for someone to be a dictator. Ryan, I got a 14-year-old daughter, 11-year-old son, so you know what I'm talking about. You don't understand what it takes to be a dictator. And I'm not talking about going out and trying to take over somebody's country. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is being able to understand the makeup that a dictator is the head of the government for the purposes of stating, for all of you people I want to see great. And for all of you people, I understand in order for you to see great, that I must treat you all with respect and love. I must design a path that creates equity for all of you, to see you grow, to see you become stronger, to see you become more powerful, to see you all be able to reap the fruits of being in this household, to see that you all are able to get the same type of rewards that your siblings get, the same type of opportunities and chances, even though you're in different spaces. Because my oldest son never had an older brother. And so the things that his younger siblings are able to do at an earlier age, because he exists, he needs to be remunerated for. He needs to be compensated for. He needs to understand how valuable that is. But here's the challenge when you say you're going to be a dictator. You may not like it because you want something specifically for you and you don't think everyone else should get it. But when you see everybody else get something, you believe you should get that. I don't want to be treated different than everybody else unless I'm being treated better. And that's the thing that dictators do, is they eliminate it. Okay, I hear what you're saying. You don't want me to be a dictator, that's fine. But guess what you have to do when you're the head of a family and you're responsible for the well-being and development of the people who are under your charge. You have to make decisions, and they're not gonna like all of them, but I don't need you to like them. I need you to understand that they're for your benefit, they're for your growth, they're for your development, they're for you. And then I'm here and I'm making this decision because I love you. And I don't care what you want for you until you can make that happen for you. What's important is that the decisions that you're making and the actions that you're taking coincide with what I'm saying so that you can continue to grow. So those things that you do want for you become the things that I want you to want for you. But I can't tell you that. I can't let you grow into that. You have to learn that. And you can only learn that if you learn to follow the rules. If you learn to follow your own principles. If you don't have principles and standards, if you don't have expectations, you don't have anything to live up to. You don't have anything to drive you forward. You're constantly waiting for some motivation, which is why you change your actions to get a little girlfriend, why you change your actions and your behaviors when you get a little boyfriend, because you don't believe in yourself enough to do something for you, but you'll do it for someone else. You'll sit in this house and not get dressed and not get changed and not wash your face for a week, and then turn right around, and as soon as you get a little girlfriend, you'll jump up, get in the shower 6 hours before you gotta see him. You get a little boyfriend, you spend 2 days getting ready. You don't clean up your room, but as soon as it's time to go over your little boyfriend's house, you wanna come home and tell me how you help wash dishes. You help straighten up. These are the things that you have to figure out for yourself before you go bring in somebody else in your life. I'm responsible for helping you develop that. That's my job. I can't fail at this because I'm gonna always love you. I'm gonna always support you. And there's gonna come a time when you're gonna get to make these decisions, and you're gonna have to make these decisions. They're gonna be on you, and you're gonna be carrying the weight. You're gonna be responsible. But until that time comes, I take my job seriously. So yes, I'm gonna be a dictator. I'm gonna tell you when to get up. I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do today. I'm gonna tell you to do it until you figure out it's the thing that has to be done, and it becomes hardwired to who you are. Because the thing that I am putting into you, the thing that I am giving you is independence. I'm not trying to teach you to be me. I'm trying to teach you to be the best version of yourself. I don't need you to try to be me, but I need you to understand what it takes to be the best version of you, what it takes to be the strongest version of you. My children are sitting there and they're shaking their heads, they got their heads down. And I look at them and I said, you know what's the problem with this is? I'm like, everybody hates a dictator. Nobody. Dictator's lonely. Dictator doesn't get love. Dictator doesn't get people talking about him in the news. Dictator doesn't get a whole bunch of support. That's why it's a big deal to make a big deal about fathers. Because everyone wants to say, hey, the father's the head. The father has to lead. And if the father disappears, it's because he's a piece of crap. If the kids don't make it, if the kids have troubles, if the kids are faced with challenges and they have difficulties, the first question they ask is, where the father? Nobody has to talk about the parents. Nobody has to mention the mother. They could just be talking about the child, and the first question is, where's the father? Where's the dad? People don't love dictators. People demand dictators. Do better. Fine, you want to tell me what to do? I'll do what you tell me to do, but you need to do better by me. And to know that I'm going to invest this much of myself into my children. And I know that parts of them are going to hate me. I know when you get up and you walk out of this room, you're going to go talk about me. I know that you'll come to my face 60 days after we come back from vacation and say, what have you done for me lately? I know that you will stand there on a phone that I'm paying for and message your friends about me and talk to your friends about me and about your life and how unfair and unpleasant it is because of who I am and how I approach you. Dictators don't get any love. And so when I tell you that that's what I'm going to be in this house is no longer a democracy. This house is no longer about being able to understand, oh, your feelings and, oh, I get it. We want to be considerate of you. It's challenging. And I don't want to be in a role where my children ever hate me. But I tell you what I don't want more. I don't want my children to be in a role where they need me and I can't help them. I can't change them. There's a YouTuber named Myron Golden. And Myron Golden tells this story about watching his son pass away in the hospital and being powerless. Now, in his story, the moral of the story is different because he relates it to God watching Christ die and having the ability to change it. But what I'm telling you is the pain of seeing your child go through something that you can't change, that you can't impact, that you can't touch, that you're powerless to help. To see your child in the clutches of the law or teen pregnancy or a drug or just breaking down, to see that and to know that you're not capable of helping that child is a devastating feeling for a parent. And then here I am as a father, and I'm watching my children do things that I've advised, and I said, hey, that's not how that's gonna work. And because I offered my children a voice when they were young to be able to speak up and voice their opinions, they think that their opinions are right. My mistake, that's my bad. I was talking to my mother last night, and my mother said she had a conversation with someone. And she says specifically, and my mother had all boys, 4 boys. And she said specifically, and we've all had like our challenges. She said specifically, they asked, what would you do different if you could start over? Like if you had it all to do over again, what would you do different? And she said, I would be harder on my sons. I would be harder on my sons. That was one of the first things she hit me with, is I would be harder on my sons. I thought my life was hard. But I get it now. I'm a parent. I have 7 little souls counting on me with expectations of me, with directions that I have to guide them in, things that I have to help them get done. And I cannot fail at this. I cannot not be wholly invested in this. And if I have a choice between you liking me now or loving me later, you can love me later. You ain't gotta like me now. Your life is still gonna be all right. You still gonna enjoy yourself. You complaining about things, even when I point out to them, I'm like, you complaining about things that don't matter. You're complaining. My oldest daughter had the audacity to complain about an option of something she didn't need. When we started, good morning, how are you doing? When we started the 6 o'clock meetings, and I told them everyone's gonna be up at 6, she was the biggest protester. I don't wanna. I'm like, sweetheart, I know for a fact you're up at 5:30 in the morning. She says I am. I just don't like to have to be up. I want the option to sleep in. I'm like, you never do. You don't sleep in. You get up. You just don't get out your bed. Well, I don't think it's right. I deserve the option to sleep in. I'm like, are you serious right now that you're upset about no longer having the option to do something that you're not doing anyway? That was the protest. I'd rather you love me later than like me now. I have to take that position because you are a child and this doesn't make sense. And you are not old enough to understand that it doesn't make sense. So yeah, I gotta run it the way I gotta run it. I gotta take charge. I gotta be the head. And the thing about a dictator is I know people hate dictators. And they don't hate dictators because of what the dictators have. They hate dictators because the dictator says, if you have, you're responsible for the person next to you having. Don't tell me how much you love your little brother and love your little sister if when I say their name, the first thing you do is suck your teeth and shake your head. But I say your little boyfriend or girlfriend's name and you light up like a star in the sky. You can't tell me that that's where you are and that's how you feel and then expect for me to say, hey, it's okay. You don't love the people in your life. You don't love the people who share your blood. You don't love the people who are next to you. This is why it's important to understand who we are, where we're going, and stop being perplexed. I can't live perplexed. I can't live confused by what I see in my children's life. I can't do it. I have to be grounded. I have to know where we're going. I have to lead and guide my children to ensure that we get to where we need to be. And we have to do it by not just avoiding distractions, but by not succumbing to distractions, allowing ourselves to be led by distractions, allowing ourselves to be pulled off of where we should be to where someone else wants us to be. Right? Look, hey, real quick. Guys, I thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you giving me the time to share with you. It is early in the morning. It is early in the morning. Dumpster definitely has been there. Phil, good morning. That's my kids. What have you done for me lately? It's an old song that says that. Look, 601 Spike. Are you still here, 601? Let me know if you're still here. If you're still here, I want to share something with you. Right? Good morning, Sage. This is why I need you to understand, people. Hey, yeah, listen. When you have a purpose and you have a direction in your life, when you choose to sit down and do something positive and take on ownership of your now, and understand that the things that you do today pay into your tomorrow, the biggest thing to keep you from getting there is going to be distractions. So we have to not be perplexed. The word of the day is perplexed. I started this chat with explaining that the word of the day is perplexed. And I use an example from a movie with Chris Tucker in it, when he gets kicked in the face. And he's like, which one of y'all kicked me in the face? Who did that? And he started asking questions because he was perplexed. He was confused. I'm telling you, Dusk Strider, who is in the chat right now, and I don't block people from my chat. And the primary reason I don't, the reason I try not to kick people from my chat is because I understand the YouTube algorithm, if I can say that word correctly. And understanding it, I know content in the chat is important because no matter what Dusk Strider's objective is, when he comes into the chat, he helps me because he starts spamming the chat. And then the YouTube algorithm says, oh, you got content in your chat. Let me send you some more people because you're active, you are engaging, and people want to talk to you. But he doesn't know that. And because he doesn't know that, he doesn't know he's helping me by doing something that I'm completely ignoring because it doesn't bring anything to the forefront. And so when someone starts out with, I hate Jesus, prove me wrong, they want to be the attention, and they're not. Launch your own channel. Ask people there to prove you wrong. Why are you here? You're here because you can't find 25 other people to sit around and answer that question for you. Why am I taking the time to have this conversation? Because distractions are designed to keep you perplexed and from reaching your goal. They're designed to keep you from receiving the message that is for you. So when I'm here and I'm sharing and I'm letting you know that as a way of life, as a path, as decisions that we make, we have to understand what our purpose is, understand what our direction is, and understand that we need to stay focused on it and we need to work towards it. And then when we come to that understanding, people, Rich, yes, not Phil, yes, sir. Did I call you Phil again? I'm sorry. But when we get to the point that we understand what we're doing and where we're going and who we're supposed to be, distractions bounce off. When we see things that we don't want to see, when people say things that are not the things that we want to hear, when people take actions that are designed to destroy us, destroy our will, destroy our direction, destroy our thoughts and our focus, to get us focusing on them versus focusing on ourselves, they are not on our side. They don't want to see good for us. So you have to ignore them. And here's the thing, and it's so much easier. It's not the same as in real life when someone's sitting there and they're touching you and they're poking you. You're like, I got to take action. I got to get this thing off me. But I don't have to do this to Dust Strider. And the reason I don't have to do it is because he has no significance in my path and where I'm going. He can't get his voice, or she can't get their voice in front of anybody else to have someone care enough to pay attention to him. So why would we give it to him? Why would we bother to take our time to be reduced to it? We don't. We shouldn't, because it's a distraction and it doesn't go towards our goal. It's like someone, you ever know somebody who will argue with a rock? When I was young, my daddy used to tell me all the time, when he married my stepmother, he was like, woman, you'll argue with a rock. And then he would get up and leave the house, and I could hear my stepmother for a good half an hour just in there arguing, just mad, just still spitting fire. And you have people who will do that. You have people who will argue with a rock. And what I'm trying to do is reach a group of people who are prepared to argue with the mentality that keeps them from being who they want to be, to keep them from achieving their goals, to keep them from walking the path and going in the direction that's best for them, to keep them from building a legacy for generations for their family. I'm talking about the people who want to make a change in their mindset, their behaviors, their knowledge, and grow, who want to improve their discipline and see themselves removed from distractions and grow. I want to build this platform so that we have the ability to engage, to talk, to share. And the haters are going to be haters. There are people who have nothing, and their entire focus is to destroy others because they don't have anything. We cannot let them be distractions for us. Self-discipline is definitely key. Self-discipline, the way I share it, I have a 2DS form that you can get. You can go to the website. I got an email in there. Shoot me an email. I get right back to you with the 2DS. It's the discipline dividend system. And what the strategy is designed to do is help you with 4 simple pillars: repetition, patience, consistency, and perseverance. Those 4 things, when you apply them to working towards mastery in any area, you're going to see growth. Bruce, what's going on, big Bruce? And this is what I'm trying to share with you, is that when someone hates and they want to destroy and their focus is on tearing people down versus building people up, you have to get to a point where you ignore and you understand that, hey, I know who I am. And who you say I am doesn't matter to me. Who you think I am doesn't matter. And where I'm going, you can't prevent. You have to get that mentality and that mindset and that understanding of yourself in order to be able to do it, in order to be able to grow. This is one of the biggest things about us as humans, one of the biggest things that we fall into that can prevent us from going and getting to places that we want to be. Right, is that we need to understand we have to maintain our focus. We have to maintain our direction, and we have to understand our purpose. And the biggest people who need it are the main ones who are trying to defeat it. This is why I continue to come out, I continue to share, and I continue to see growth. Continue to see growth in the people who support me. Continue to see growth in my family, as much as they may challenge and protest. Continue to see growth in my own life and my development, my spiritual development, my resiliency, my relationships, just growth across the board. It is a powerful, powerful thing to be able to take control of your life and your direction. It's a powerful, powerful thing to be able to grow and to continue to walk a path that you know is the correct path for you and see results happen for you. This is why it's important. This is why it's important to help when Eric says I need help, this is why it's important to be able to understand what helping yourself looks like. This is why it's being able to understand what it means to take a stand and start taking steps. This is what it means for you to be able to stand up and do you. Hey, Dusk, if you want to have a real conversation, I'll have it with you. I'm not telling you you need Jesus. I'm telling you you need you. Do you got you? Do you got you, Dusk? So you're asking questions, and I tell you when you're perplexed, you have to ask questions, but you have to ask yourself questions. So if you got you, and you got you like you say you do, then why are you needing to destroy others? Why are you needing to come at others? Why do you need someone else's socials if what you have is you? You can walk your path, and this is what I'm telling to everyone, is we get distracted and we get directed by other people's positions and words and thoughts and their places. And then we allow other people to put us in a place we don't want to be. Because they said something, I ain't gonna be here. You know how much I love my family? All my heart. You think I'm gonna let some politician and their belief system or their words or their thoughts or their actions keep me from loving my mother? Keep me from loving my brother? Keep me from seeing my nieces and nephews and my brothers and my sisters? Do you think that's gonna be the thing that's gonna keep me from communicating with them? Never in a million years. Never in a million years am I gonna let somebody else's viewpoint, somebody else's words, somebody else's thought process keep me away from my family. Keep me away from doing the things that are right for me. You can't let it happen. So when you start looking and you start listening to the peanut gallery, and you start letting the peanut gallery, as my mama used to say, how you gonna let somebody get your goat? When you start letting the peanut gallery guide you by your emotions, and this is what they mean when they say don't live on emotion, don't let your emotions guide you. Everything that we do is driven by emotion. We seek to be somewhere, we seek out a certain emotion. And so the work we do, the reason we go on vacations, the reason we fall in love, the reasons that we do things, buy rings, buy houses, invest, we do those things, it's driven by emotion because we're trying to get somewhere. But the emotion is the destination. It's not the driver. It's where we're trying to get to. And so when someone comes into your life and they say, hey, I'm about to control you by getting control of your emotions. I'm going to say and do things that are going to get you to change how you normally behave and how you normally act. And I'm going to use those things to drag you around, to change your view, to change your status, to change what's going on in your life. I'm going to take you and I'm going to control you by controlling your emotions. Those are distractions. We cannot allow it to happen. We can't continue to allow for others to come out and control us in that way. We have to take control. So when you say you know you, and when you say you got you, and when you say that you're working on the thing that's designed to see you grow, working on the thing that's designed to see you become stronger, working on the thing that's designed to see you achieve your purpose and get to where you need to be, you can't allow distractions to drive you. And this is what it looks like when we do that, people. This is what our walk looks like. This is what our life looks like. Distractions no longer impact us. We're no longer driven by emotion. We're no longer driven by the need to feel like we have to do what the emotion says in this moment, because emotions are destinations. Emotions are not drivers. I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm talking about, people. When you have a trip to take. If you're traveling from Seattle to Bermuda and you prepare and pack your bags for Seattle, you get coats, you get boots, you get umbrellas for rain, you get flannels, and you prepare everything that you need to be in Seattle, to be in that emotional state, and you get on this plane and you go to Bermuda, you're not going to enjoy the trip or the destination. This is why people can't be happy when they get to where happy is supposed to be for them, because they spend so much time trying to prepare for the emotion that they're in versus becoming and preparing for the destination that they're traveling to. So if we're spending our time being distracted, and if we have children, we know what distractions are. They keep us from putting the right things in the bag. They keep us from getting prepared correctly. Being driven by emotion is when you say, forget it, and just throw everything in the bag, whatever it is, we'll just go with that. I'll figure it out later. You get to Bermuda, you ain't got no swimming trunks, you got one slide on, you bought a pair of linen shorts, they were yours 17 years ago, you ain't getting back in them. These are the things that distractions do. So what do we need to understand? We need to understand that even though our destination is an emotional state, and we are either leaving an emotional state or arriving in an emotional state because we're looking for happiness, we're looking for pleasure, we're looking for enjoyment, we're getting away from sadness, we're getting away from anger, we're getting away from frustration. We know we're moving away from those things. We have to understand they're not the driver, they're the destination. And when you get someone like Dust Strider who comes in, and I haven't even read enough of Eric's comments to know what he's saying, but when you get to the right place where you know that the travel that you're making and where you're going and the destination that you're trying to see are designed for you to be happy in that space, you start preparing for it. So it doesn't matter what the people who are along your journey say. It doesn't matter how they feel. It doesn't matter what their thoughts are. It doesn't matter how they see themselves or how they see you, because you are packing and preparing and traveling to somewhere else. And it's better there, and you know it is. So you don't have to continue to live in the anger. You don't have to continue to live in the sadness. You don't have to continue to live in the pain. You don't have to continue to live in any of that, because you have an understanding of your direction. You have an understanding of the work you're going to do to arrive at the goal that you're looking for. So you can stop being perplexed. Stop letting people kick you in the face. Stop wondering what's going on. You get one time. You get one time, and from that point on, it's not a surprise. Guys, as always, I love being here and sharing on this channel. I appreciate the opportunity to share. I thank you for coming in and giving me the opportunity to speak to you, to share with you, and take a part of this walk with me. It is now 5:42 a.m. As you know, I have to get into the house. I have other things to do. I have a wife. I have 7 lovely children, and I have a beautiful day and a life ahead of me. If you are interested in what I'm sharing, please like, subscribe, and share. There's a great way for us to continue to grow. There are simple principles of discipline that we can apply to any area of our life to see success and growth. And when we apply these 4 elements of discipline, we see this without question. Rich, I'm so sorry for calling you Phil again. I apologize for that, but I definitely want to say, guys, as always, until next time, keep showing up, keep blowing up, keep growing up. God bless, guys.